So, what, about 150 years? 170 years, okay. Wow. Thank you. Good. You can move back to the presentation, to the PowerPoint. So, a little bit about the importance of family business. So, what's the global footprint, as we call it? About 80 to 90%, we don't know for sure, but about 80 to 90% of all companies in the world are a family business. So it is the most predominant form of enterprise. And they are responsible for more than 50% of the world's gross domestic product and 65% of total employment. So family businesses are also the largest employer in the world. And if you look at the 500 largest companies in turnover, they together would be the third economy in the world after the US and China. So only 500 family businesses together create the third largest economy in the world. So it shows how relevant and how important family businesses are. And to also compare that to other types of owners, this is some data from the Netherlands. If you look at the 500 largest companies in the Netherlands, 38% is a family business. And another 15% is what it's called an owner-managed or privately owned company. So also here, more than half of all the 500 largest companies in the Netherlands are a family-owned business or privately owned. Well, if you read the newspapers or the business magazines, there's a lot of talk about the large corporates, private equity-owned firms, and so on. But if you look in reality, the reality is that family businesses are the most important. And then, interestingly, of course, is, and why are they then different? What makes them stand out compared to other types of companies? For example, private equity, a listed company, a state-owned company. And here I've listed 5 key characteristics. And the first one, what you often hear, is the long-term orientation. You are here to stay. You are here, as sometimes the saying is, we want to leave the company in a better shape to the next generation as that we got it from our previous generation. So long-term orientation by nature. It's not profit first, it's continuity first. How do we ensure that we also exist in 10, 15, 20 years from now? Another key characteristics of family businesses is that usually you are able to make decisions very fast because the owners and the executives are often the same persons or are working very close together. So that gives you an advantage. Family businesses, 170 years old, 6th generation. You've probably have gone through a lot of crises in 170 years, and you survived. Because you were able to adapt, and you were also able to be resilient, and that not one crisis you already have to lay off a lot of people, or you have to close down facilities, and so on. And finally, a characteristic is a distinct culture in families where attention to employees, attention to customers, for example, is more important. So those are 5 key characteristics why they are different. But there are also challenges you have to deal with. as an owning family. And first, and that's even more important nowadays, and we will go on a little bit deeper into that with the families, is what I call relevance. There's so much changes going on in the world. Technology, AI, geopolitics. Can we keep up with our investments that we have to do? Can we keep up with our organization? Yeah. In other words, can we stay relevant as a company in our markets? And another one, a big challenge, is balancing this contrasting worlds of family and business. Family, loyalty, emotion. You are always a member of the family. Probably every family has its black sheep, or kissing cousins, as some say. But at the funeral, you meet each other again. But if you work in a company, when you quit or you move to another company, you know, it's gone, the relationship. But in the family, you can't do that. But in the business, it is important to perform, to have the capabilities to do your job. In a family, you are accepted on who you are. Yeah. So, how to balance that? That's another one. Leadership succession. In history, I think, for example, in royal families, primogeniture is the key principle. The eldest son takes over the helm. But the eldest son is not always the best manager or the best leader. So, how do you organize and prepare for leadership succession? A big challenge. Ownership alignment. That's what families have also learned from the big corporates, from the hedge funds, who suddenly, as a minority shareholder, can create a lot of chaos and turmoil. So the importance that owners are aligned, and especially owners who are working in the business, and owners who are not working in the business. Do they have the same vision on the future? Do they have the same ambitions? So that's an important challenge. And finally, and that is more relevant in small and medium-sized family enterprises, is access to finance, which sometimes is quite difficult. So those are 5 key challenges of families. And this already I explained a little bit, but this is a very important model to understand how you can deal with the dynamics. So family business consists of 3 overlapping systems. The family system, like I said, with loyalty, membership for life, and so on. The ownership system, where it is about money, but it's also about social capital, our relations we have as owners. And it is about the business. And each of these 3 systems have a key principle. In the family, fairness is very important. Parents would like to treat their children equally. But if you also have to decide between one child who is capable of running the company and another child who is not capable of running the company, how do you come to that decision? Is it even the one who is not able to take over? Is it the way the person is selected or not selected? Is it done in a fair way or in a just way? That's very important in families. In the ownership circle, involvement is very important. How are family members who are an owner, how are they involved? Do they know what the business is about, how it's performing, and so on? But in the business, decisiveness is important, because you have to move on. If you don't move on, if you don't make decisions, and you probably know it all by experience, the company can get in trouble. But in a family, decisiveness is also nice, but it's not the key principle. So I only would like to ask you, keep this in mind, these 3 circles, or these 3 different perspectives. Also, when you're talking about succession, for example, or when you have a conversation at the kitchen table, or at the dinner table. Is this a conversation we have as family members, or is it a conversation we have as colleagues together? And it helps you to understand these different perspectives. This is another model I would like to share with you, because it also helps when we dig into the 4 families. It's called the 4-room model, developed by 2 people at Harvard. And what they basically say, think of your family business as a house with 4 rooms. And every group of stakeholders, as they call it, so the owners, the board of directors, the management, and the family, they have a separate room where they can discuss certain topics, where they can make their own decisions. Or where they understand, this is a decision or a discussion we should not have in the family room, for example, but we should have in the boardroom. And if you make that distinction, it helps to clarify the different roles there are. And it minimizes conflict. Yeah. So again, there's different perspectives. In every room, you have different conversations. So the owners, they define what is success to the company. But they're also responsible for hiring the board, or even management in smaller companies when there is not a separate board. The board of directors, if there is one, they oversee how the business is performing. They monitor progress. And they hire, formally, the CEO. I will dig into that structure later on with one of the cases. And management, they are responsible for the execution and to direct the operations. But family members also have a separate responsibility, because they are responsible to keep the family united, but also to develop the next generation. Of course, with the help of the company, or with other owners or the board, but they are responsible for preparing and developing the next generation. 4-room model. Taking this all together, in my experience over the last 40 years in working with family business and seeing a lot of family businesses, there are 4 key success factors, in my opinion, that make family businesses thrive. And the first one is to have a clear business strategy. The second one is to have what I call excellent governance. And governance is about how do we make decisions? How do we organize our processes of discussing, aligning, deciding, monitoring? And how do we also bring in the outside view? A third key successor is how you manage succession. And that is succession with regards to who is going to lead the company, but also in ownership, or who will be the next chairman of the board. And the 4th key success factor is how to be the best owner for the company. Because if you are the best owner for the company, you stay, you continue, the company can thrive. But sometimes families come to the conclusion, we cannot be the best owner any longer, because we lack the talent in the family, or we lack the interest from some owners, or we are not able to do it all by ourselves. So and then you have to make other decisions about independence, about growth, about maybe involving other shareholders, other owners. So 4 key success factors. Let's now move then to the cases. Marie already introduced the 4 families, but let me ask you a little bit more about your family and your company. So let's start with you, Eduard. If you think about Fitó, in one word, what is it doing? And how many people do you employ? And can you tell about the number of family members who are involved?
The number of family members that have both. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously we're a breeding company, but this is obvious. But so maybe let me focus on the purpose. The purpose, we as a breeding company, we want to create sustainable value across the value chain. This is what we do. The second question was...
how many people do you employ?
800 people, more or less, more than that, but 800 people. And how many members of the family have vote? Let me think about that.
How many family members are involved? Either working in the company or maybe on the board? Or
in the board, there are 6 of my generation plus 2 of the previous one. So 6 plus 2, 8.
8. And are there other family members working in the company but not on the board?
There are 4 members of the 4 family members working in the company.
Okay. And which generation are you?
5th.
You are the 5th generation?
Yes.
Okay. So when was the company founded?
Yeah.
When?
In 1880.
1880. Okay. 146 years.
146, correct.
You
did your maths. Yeah,
you are already preparing for the 150th birthday?
For a big party then.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the Attavar family. Asmir and Angela. So, breeding or a special...
we're a breeding company.
Yeah.
We're also one of the few companies doing ornamental plants along with vegetable and flower seeds. We're also in hybrid paddy and maize.
Okay. And where are you based in India?
We're based in Bangalore with the operations all around India.
Okay.
And distribution in the rest of the world.
And with all the companies, how many people do you employ?
We have 250 people
250
working
people.
with us. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm 2nd generation, Angela's 3rd generation.
Okay.
And
you have brothers and sisters?
My older brother, Arthur Santosh, is the chairman of the company.
Okay.
I'm the joint managing director.
Okay.
Both of us own the company.
Okay.
And we have 3 other family members. Angela, who's my niece, my daughter, Isabel, and my sister-in-law, Benita, also with us in the company.
Okay. So you have 5 family members from 2 generations at the moment working in the company?
Yeah, currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And Lorena from Argentina.
Hello, I'm from Argentina. My sister and me run the company. We are 3rd generation. The company was founded in 1931, so we are close to have 100 years. We are located in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and in Brazil, in Uberlandia. People,
how many people you employ?
150, more or less.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on the people that work in the field.
Mm-hmm.
We are involved in vegetables. So we have breeding, we have production, and we have commercial. We sell our products by our own brand, that is Basso. The other, like this. We work, half of the company is in specialties. We are doing breeding and production and commercial also in popcorn.
Okay. And are you and your sister the only family members working in the company?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a brother in the middle, but he's not involved in the company.
Okay.
And we are very small. The family is very small because we have our mother that is part of the family advisory group. We have my brother that he knows the industry but is not working at this time. We have 2 aunts, one who is family and the other lives in the States, so it's not involved in the
Okay,
business.
okay. And your brother, who is not working in the company, is he an owner or is the...
No, he's owner. He
He's
has
owner, okay.
shares, but he has been working for us for many years. Because different things, he decided to stop working with us.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
he's very involved.
Okay.
Because we usually have informal meeting with him because he knows the business. So he said, okay, Lorena, where are you going? And maybe thinking that on that. So he's involved, but not in the day-to-day.
So, and more in kind of an informal advisory capacity.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. The Gautier family.
Yes, thank you.
You are the founder.
I am the father
Yes.
of Jeanne. And I am the son of my parents. Because my parents and grandparents started the company in 1952. I am the third generation. Jeanne, she is the fourth generation. Then the Gautier seed company is based in south of France, between Marseille and Avignon. We are specialized in vegetable seeds only, breeding, seed production, and sales. And we are more or less 180 people today. And yes, I am the third generation. I am the president of the company. About family members, with my wife, we have 4 children. All they are involved in the, how to say, concern by the family business. They are all shareholders. But only Jeanne is in the operation. Jeanne, she is the general manager now of the company.
Okay, good. So you have 3 family members who are not working in the business, but they are an owner.
Yes.
Also, okay.
They participate, one in the advisory board and other in the family board.
Yeah, okay. Good, thank you very much. So 4 different family constellations, as we would say. And some of you have family members who are owner but not working in the business, so that's a different perspective, again, and a different knowledge about the company, which has advantages but also can have disadvantages. Let's move to the first topic, and the way we want to do it, as I said in the beginning, I first have a couple of questions, and for each topic we have 2 families who are a little bit more in the forefront in that topic than in other topics. Then we give you the possibility to ask some questions, and there are some mics floating around if needed. And then we have again a Mentimeter question to close the topic. So that's how it works. So first, let's dig into strategy. You can ask yourself, family business, it's about succession, it's about ownership. Why is it about business strategy? And the reason why it has become such an important topic, also from a family and from an owner's perspective, is today's world. Are you familiar with the term VUCA world? Some of you have heard. VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So it forces companies, it forces the owners to be more clear on what do we want to do with the company and how are we doing it. So, and with each of those key success factors, I formulated a couple of questions that, in my opinion, every family should ask themselves. And every ownership group should ask themselves. But let's first then move to this first topic. Maybe, Lorena, can I start with you?
Okay, with me.
With me. If you think about, you know, you run the company with your sister.
Yeah.
How do you develop your strategy and how do you get that, let's say, aligned among the 2 of you and with the rest of the management?
Wow. I think that the process of planning is the same that in every company. It's the same. It's agnostic, good ideas, and have a decision. But In the case of us, we are focused in different areas of the company, but we know what is happening in the other part of the company. What we have been talking with my colleague is that we have different background, we are different, but at the end we have the same view of the company. So the way of we run, we are two, but we run in the same way. So we complete each other, because sometimes I'm thinking in one way and she in another, but at the end it's complementary. So this is, but it's more or less what happened in any other company. But the difference is that they have two CEOs. Now we are using these titles, because we never used titles.
Yeah.
But now we say, okay, I'm a CEO and she's a FAO.
So you have co-CEOs?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And what's the timeline of your strategy?
Yes,
Do you have like a 3-year or 5-year or maybe even a 10-year or 15 years?
In that case, I told you that we are going to celebrate our 100th anniversary, so we put that date as the horizon of our strategy.
Okay.
So it's good because it's our narrative to say, okay, at this time, in 2031, we'll be here. So all the company know where we want to be. So this process started 3 or 4 years ago. We're working on that. Sometimes because the world is changing, we have to adjust. But we are very sure where we have to go.
Okay. And can you maybe uncover what's your vision? Can you say a few words about that? Because you're very clear where you want to go.
The commercial vision.
Sorry?
The commercial vision or what?
Yeah, or maybe a dream, or maybe a...
Yes. In terms of commercial, I'm not going to worry, but we want to be leaders in the program that we are working.
Okay.
So regionally, because we work in America. So, but I see that it's more than that, because my feeling is, and my city is something different. We need that the company continue in the future.
Yeah.
But keeping the same branding. Because Basso is a branding with a lot of things or words that is like this. It's like culture. So my dream is to keep in the business unless all the problems that we are facing in this world, but keep going, keep growing, and be competitive. But for the next generation, because I feel the responsibility for the others that came before me.
Okay. Yeah. And are the two of you doing that together and then involve the rest of the company, or do you also work with maybe outsiders, or you have an advisory board, or?
It's a very this is difficult. We have very difficult. We had a lot of problems with consultants, because it's very difficult for a consultant to join in a family company.
Yeah.
Because the way of doing things is completely different and it's very sensitive.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same to advise to a manager that to advise the owner of the company that have the culture from many, many generations before.
Yeah.
So we have some consult, and it's very, very important for us to build trust. If we feel that we have trust with them, everything is going.
Yeah.
But it's difficult.
Yeah.
But we have a few.
Yeah.
And other things are, these are like formal advisory, but there are other things that the families should have is like this breakfast that I have with friends that I have a lot of experience, breakfast or meetings, informal meetings, in places like this, in congresses, that you can share ideas, that they can help you in some way, because around here there are very, very interesting people. So in some way, always we are open for...
Yeah, so you actively use your network Both.
The networking is,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that is,
Yeah. Yeah.
because sometimes you feel alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, and the two of you, do you kind of in a structured way discuss strategy and monitor the strategy? Like you, for example, go out for a day, the two of you, and you discuss,
Away of the company?
for example,
Of
I
course.
don't know, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, of
Yes,
course,
it's part of the game.
Okay.
Because we are friends. We are sisters but friends. We spend all the vacation together.
Okay.
So yes, most of the decision, because we are very obsessive with the
Yeah.
company. So always we start talking about shopping, but 5 minutes after we are talking about the anniversary or the what is the planning, what happened with the financial guy or whatever.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's part of, and it's good.
So you don't have those separate rooms. You discuss everything everywhere.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if it works for you, it's great.
It's good for us.
It's great. Yeah.
What I think is that we have very small, how do you say, I have daughters and she has son. We spend a lot of time together because we need to be together.
Yeah.
They need, all of us have to be close because
Yeah.
it's different to run a family business. So
Yeah.
it's very important to be very close in terms
Exactly.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
personal.
Contact, exactly.
I don't know if love is
Close relationships. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
respect.
Let's move to Eduard, because you have a much bigger company, 800 people, but you also have many more family members involved. So how do you deal with developing and monitoring strategy?
Well, it has evolved. So at the very beginning, so when I started the company 30 years ago, so we used to have like a business plan that was a very short-term business plan, it was 1 year, and most of the, let's say, long-term discussions were discussed either in the kitchen or waiting at the waiting room at the airports. I was joking about the contribution of aviation because we had very nice discussions in those places. That was in the past. Now, what we do, we created recently. Well, recently, it's I don't know how long ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, an executive committee. This is where the manager, the executives, they gather and they discuss the strategy. Now our strategy is 4 years term. And it doesn't run. I mean, it's 4 years, and then once we come to the end of this period, we start over again, 4 more years, okay? And the guys at the executive committee, I'm no longer an executive, so maybe I should mention that. So my brother and I, we decided to leave the executive committee, so we are only in the governance. So these guys, Laia, she's my cousin, she's there. She's still in the executive committee along with my sister. Those are the guys in charge of deciding and defining and execute the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we stick in the strategy.
Okay.
So, no.
Yeah. So, in a way, you have delegated the preparation of the strategy to the executive committee. So there's more distance between the day-to-day involvement from the family.
That's correct.
Except for the ones who are in the executive committee. Yeah. And how does that feel?
You are very mean. Huh? Yeah. It's a little bit painful, I have to say that, because especially when you are used to be involved you are in the heat of the battle, you really enjoy discussing and finding solutions yourself. So when you take this decision to transit from execution to governance, so you have to be very careful and ask for patient mercy to your employees to say, okay, please let me know if I'm going too deep, because I don't want to disturb you. I just want here to help you, to guide you, telling you what we want, which is our vision, overall our purpose and our values. Those are the things that we need to think about, and then please do your job. And guidance probably is the key part. So this transition is not easy, and we are still learning.
Okay, very good. So, so you've in that sense changed the strategy process a lot. A closing question, and all four of you can answer that if you have an answer, and then we move to the next topic. What is, if you look at the near future, what is your biggest strategic challenge for the coming years? What would you say? Jacques, you have something?
If I made many points, but as a breeding company, one key point is human resources, how our company can be attractive, because in the vegetable seed business, our company is smaller size than our competitor. And the second point is the freedom to operate, because our rules are changing with patenting of genes and technologies, how we will manage this regulation technologies to have a freedom to operate and access of all these points. This is my 2 points, but perhaps I can imagine there are other points.
Yeah, okay. And Lorena, for you? What would
Maaike
you?
is the same. It's about human resources. You have to how to look for them and how to keep them interested in the company, first thing, because we need people to do things, and it's very special things. And the other is how to be competitive.
Okay. Yeah, so for you, that's becoming more and more important to keep your place and stay relevant. Yeah, okay. Rashmi and Angela, is there a strategic challenge you want to
like Lorena mentioned, so I'm still very new in the business, but what I've noticed is in the previous generations, we would have people that have been really loyal to the company and then worked with us for 25 years, right? But in the previous years, I feel people don't stay as long and people keep switching. So like she said, I think finding a way to keep those people in is important.
Okay, so it's not about finding the right people, but it's also keeping them on board and remain an attractive employer to them.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Rashmi, you want to add a challenge?
In continuation with what Angela was saying, also is attracting the right talent from the youth.
Yeah.
As you know, agriculture isn't the most glamorous job to be in, you know. But as we see more people going into tech, especially coming from India, attracting youth into agriculture is a big thing.
A nice anecdote on that from one of our members. They're also in the agri-business, not in the seed business. But when they now attract new people, they present themselves as a technology company, not as an agri-business company. And for them, it works. So, Eduard, your strategic challenge?
I mean, on top of what they have said, so human resources is always to attract the right people, talented people is always there, and also all of the resources like biotechnology, the freedom to operate that Jack was talking about. Maybe also to find our right spot in this universe. So we also, as a company, we have to find our own pathway and try to offer something different, to have our own proposal.
Okay, good. Thank you. The white spot. Any questions from the audience to one of the families at the moment? If not, we move on to a question to you. Can you put on the Mentimeter again? Yeah, so the next question. So just type in a word or a few words if you have listened to these 4 stories about how these families, and especially the Basso and the Fitó family, how they deal with strategy. What's your takeaway? An idea, an insight, a changing priority. Maaike, you want to ask a question? The mic is coming over there. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Albert-Jan. Thank you all families for sharing about your family businesses and for being so open. I'm curious because many of you say that HR, attracting talent, is a big challenge for you in your strategy. Do you see that being a family business is something that that can help you, that you can use it as an added value in positioning your business to attracting talent?
Whomever.
Yeah, I can jump into. So it depends on the profile. So if you look for young people, the youth, probably it doesn't help. So the young ones, they prefer to go to big multinationals, where they think they can learn more, they can learn procedures and so on. But when you have more mature, let's say, professionals, they love to work in this kind of companies. So this is our experience.
One comment from our side. For some people, depend on the profile, but for some people, the autonomy that they think that the seed company have is very attractive for them. Because for them, they think that big companies, they have to work in a very small box or frame. And family companies like our company, they know that the autonomy is better. They will have more decisions that are going to be under their hands. They'll free. They think that small companies or family companies are more flexible, so they can be more alone. That's the kind of thing. So for us, especially for breeders, is very good.
Okay. Jeanne, you want to add to that?
Yes,
Yeah.
so I agree with what Lorena just said, but I would also add that the challenge for smaller sized businesses is maybe also to be able to drive career pathways for the people through the organization, because it's usually shorter. So we need to be creative and to drive people towards maybe different careers, opportunities. And we have the ability to do this, we have the flexibility, but not always for everybody, obviously. So you need also to be ready to lose some people when their way in the company is just coming to an end, I believe.
And stability, maybe something. They think that working in a family companies will give you more stability in their career than in other kind of.
But that's when you start needing to challenge them.
Yeah.
Because stability is.
Yes.
We need to be competitive on the business, so not too much stability.
But you can mix, because if they feel that, because their mind have to be focused on the business, and sometimes I have the feeling that working big company, they are thinking a lot in what will happen with them in the future. So maybe it's a balance, like everything.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. Rashmi, finally, make a comment. Yeah.
Maaike, to answer your question, I feel that in family businesses, we have an open door system where almost any employee can meet the CEO, not like that in a big conglomerate or a corporate. Yeah. And the feedback from many of the people that have been with us through the years is the fact that they can walk into our offices, easily discuss. So to use the term, maybe they're seen and they're heard much more in a family business atmosphere.
As one family member said to me, in family businesses, the owners have a face. Yeah. You know who you work for, and they also know who you are. Yeah. Good, thank you very much. No, we'll go back to the PowerPoint, please. Yeah. So, this was strategy. Some of the answers you gave were long-term, people that need to be involved, alignment is important. Let's move to the second key success factor, it's governance. And the nicest definition I learned over the years, what is governance? Governance is taking slightly more good decisions than bad decisions over time. Taking slightly more good decisions than bad decisions over time. Of course, the people who are involved are important, but also then the processes and the structures are important. And let's start with the case of Fitó, because you already mentioned it in the strategy section that you have changed your structure. Maybe you can explain a little bit, and we use it then as to explore the topic of governance further.
Sure.
How did you structure your governance in the Fitó company?
Well, yeah, thank you, Albert. So I took the liberty to explain a little story here, so like a kind of a metaphor of what governance means to me. So some of you know that I love music, so let's imagine that we are musicians here, and we play the violin or whatever instrument you want to play. And then you realize that doing that, you can make your life out of it. So you become a musician, and then you start inviting people, or you see that people comes to listen to you, and you can make some money. And then since you are getting richer, you are making more, you end up hiring more people, and then you have your own orchestra. And then, well, that means that you need to devote more time to control that, to manage that. So you ended up being the conductor. And maybe you can picture yourself, some of you, being the conductor of your own company. But in a given moment, you might look back and see that the theater is empty. And that's a problem, because if nobody comes to listen to you, so probably you are not going to make any money anymore. So, and then you have to think what's happening. And at that precisely moment is when you start governing. You have to think about the future and say, okay, maybe I'm not doing the things right, or maybe the taste of the audience has changed. And or whatever reason, you have to explain why people are not coming to listen to you. So you need to have a way out, the liberty or the freedom, let's say, to take some decisions that can be a conflict of interest. So being you the manager, being you the technician might be the problem. So you need also to have, if you want to fulfill your purpose as a company, maybe you have to have the boldness to withdraw and bring more people. And being the owner means that you can do three things. You already mentioned that. So you can be the manager, you can be the owner, but, and also you are a member of the family, so you have to manage the family. But you can never get rid of being the owner. So this means that you need to make sure that if the company who you own wants to survive, maybe you need to change the employees, change the CEOs, change the conductor, change the music you are playing. So for me, this split, this division, explains a little bit the difference between being an executive and being, I wouldn't say a governor, but being in the governance. You also asked me to explain how we are organizing the company. This morning I was explaining that to someone, he didn't understand. There you are. So I'll try to make it more graphic. So we have, just to keep it simple, two big business units in the company. So vegetables and we call it agronomics, so it's field crops and turf grasses and so on. So we created two executive committees. Those executive committees are the ones to elaborate, to create, design the strategy, and then execute it. Okay, so they are the guys. And to bridge the two business units, we have what we call a steering committee, which is just another executive body who makes sure that the company is run in the same way. So they share the same procedures, the same HR policies, and so on. Okay, but two big business, and the executives are there. And then, so we had a board, and that board, by law, acted more as a shareholders meeting. So and I don't know if that rings the bell to you, but very often the board, so it's full of family members. They don't know much about the business, and they don't have any interest. So, but they have to be there because they are or they will be the owners. So let's keep that like this. So we decided to keep like this, and then we created what we call an advisory board. This advisory board, we also invited external people, external that they are knowledgeable, they bring skills and knowledge that we do not have, and we need them, so we bring them in. We meet every month, more or less, so 10 times a year. And the purpose of this advisory board is to basically define 3 important things. One is why we have a company, what's the purpose of this company, what kind of company you want to be, that's the vision, and then which are the limits, which are the values. So, the purpose doesn't justify the means. So we have to also limit those limits. And then validate the strategy proposed by the executive committee. So the executive committee gets a mandate based on our purpose, vision, and value, and they respond with a strategy. That's the way we work. Okay. And then, just to finish, you see these 2 chairs. So every executive committee has 1 chairperson, and those also are in the supervisory board to make that connection. Okay.
Just a couple of quick questions. In the supervisory board, how many members in total?
In where?
In the supervisory board.
Let me think. 1, 2, so 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. How many is family?
4.
4. 4 family, 3 outsiders.
Right.
Okay. And in the board, we also sometimes call it the owners board.
Correct.
That's only family members, or you also have
no,
outsiders?
there's also an external.
Aha. And
Yeah.
why?
Can I skip this question? No.
I can give you an answer. I don't know if it's right in your case, but
No, I can answer that. So we thought we needed a kind of a facilitator, let's say. So and that's somebody who has the trust of the 4th generation,
yeah,
and also ours.
Yeah.
And it's a connector.
Yeah. It's not a difficult answer.
Well,
Because that's what many families do. They bring in an outsider also on the level of the owners board, owners council, family holding board, however you want to call it. And usually this person has the role of the facilitator, the moderator. And the big advantage of that is that every family member is equal. There's not one family you also have to take care of, the processes. Is it going right? Are decisions okay? Is there a possible conflict? Because that's the task of this outsider. So it's a very smart move to do. And I see that a lot of families do that. And it makes it much easier than to have the discussions. So.
Let me add, so that's correct. So that's the role of this external advisor, whereas the guys in the supervisory board, they don't have this role of being, they are really knowledgeable.
Expertise. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. From the others, who also has a advisory board or even a supervisory board? Jeanne?
We do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And can you explain a little bit about how it is composed in your case?
Yes, it has evolved, so I will tell what's true today. But we are in a constant evolution. So there is an executive committee with the directors of the company and the operational side of things. So I am managing director, my father is president. And then we have an advisory board. One of my sisters is the president of the advisory board, and we have 3 other external people joining us. And then we also have a family board, which is actually the 4-room model, that you presented earlier. Yep. So we are sticking to this model. We are very good students about the family business things. So that's what we have at the moment.
Okay, and it works for you?
Sorry?
And it works for you?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Okay, good. Okay. So on the advisory board, but it's really an advisory board, so it's not a legal body. It is more an informal body.
No, we have like regular meetings 6 times a year.
Course,
it's all quite professionally done.
Yeah.
We have agendas and we have topics that we are following up, action plans, etc.
Okay.
So it's useful.
Yeah. Okay. Jacques, you want to add?
Yes, it's legal.
It's
with
illegal.
the form of our company
Yeah.
in France.
Yeah.
It's SAS, Société Anonyme Simplifiée. The advisory board is legal.
Okay.
But in the past, before the new generation come on board, we've got an advisory board, but it was, how to say, kind of a fake advisory board. Now the new period is more challenging, but it's more open, and I think it's better for a good evolution of people in the company.
Yeah. So in the past, the advisory board was more of a sounding board, whatever suited you, and now you have integrated more in the formal system of discussing, deciding, looking ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It is also training for the new generation.
Okay. Okay. Lorena, you want
In
to?
our case, because we are only 3,
Yeah.
we know that we have to think about that for future. It's in agenda, but the time is limited. So there is another stone in our feet, in our shoes, that is about what will happen between this generation, my sister and me, and the next generation. So it's a problem because I have 2 little daughters, 3 and 6, and my sister, 2 sons, 7 and 12, are very young. We are more than 50, so don't say anyone. But the problem, so we focus on that. We needed to professionalize the company for the future, but because it's a gap in between us and the next generation in case they decide to join the company. So we focus on that to prepare the company to hire a general manager in case we need. But so we need to go to think about the board, but now the focus is to prepare the company.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the future, then an advisory board or another kind of body could be helpful for you.
Yes, we have the idea, we have the schema in our mind, but we start this conversation last year, and then we say, okay, no, the problem is, the priority is another.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to prepare the company because it's not easier to come from a company with one owner, like my father was very, very strong in terms of managing. To change the company to have managers. It's not easy, so we work on that direction.
Yeah, and it makes also the company less dependent on just the presence of the 2 of you. In case something happens or you want to take a different role, then the company can continue.
Yes, we are working on that. Exactly. For us, it's difficult because when you are very close to the operation, I work in the company, I don't know, since I was 18 more or less, so I did everything at the company. So it's very difficult to take one step away of the operation, but it's what are we doing right now.
Very good, very good. Rashmi, you also want to add?
We don't have an advisory board as such, but we do have subject matter specialists or people that we invite in as consultants to work with us on various parts of the business. And just like Lorena was saying, Santosh and I have been involved in the business for the last 3 decades. So at times we do think that, okay, let's discuss, let's maybe ask someone else from outside to come give their opinion. And I think it's always helpful to get an outside perspective. In addition to what we think and what we envision for the future of the company. And now with the 3rd generation in, it makes more sense. We get all different perspectives. And as we discuss and talk, I think it gets more, one is people come in with an advisory capacity or a consultant capacity. And we also have a lot of thoughts coming in from within the team, the professional team.
And that's nice that you illustrated, because in what I've seen in many families is you start, building kind of a network. Oh, if I have this question, I know where to go to. And sometimes it's a friend, and sometimes it's a consultant. And but at a certain stage, when the company professionalizes, it makes sense to formalize that a little bit more and start with an advisory board. Because then you can bring those people closer to the company. They know more about the company. So it's also, they can also faster and easier than give their advice and reflections and help you. And if you bring it even a step further, it becomes a formal supervisory board or board with outsiders, and then it's fully formalized. And that's often the kind of the path that I've seen with families where both the family grows, the business grows, becomes more professional. But it's always about how do we organize, you know, the outside view, the outside perspective. Okay. Another question. I didn't ask that to you before, but in the world of family business, you also see families writing down some of their principles and rules. For example, in a family protocol or in a family constitution. Do you have something like that? Eduard?
Yes, we recently finalized our protocol.
Okay.
It took us 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah. Most of the time we were just understanding.
I won't ask you a difficult question again.
Thank you.
But please explain.
No, because it took 15 years actually to understand the meaning of having a protocol. Once we understood it, I mean, we really speed up the process of having one. And it brings a lot of clarity, and so I really recommend to have a protocol.
Okay. Others? We have something informal or formal?
Yes, we
Lorraine?
have.
You have, okay.
We have something written, very simple, but we have.
Okay. And it can be very simple. And usually the big advantage of such a protocol or writing it down is that it is often the result of a process that you had the discussions with each other. If we, for example, think about, you know, one of our values is respect. But respect for you might mean something different than for you. So have that discussion. How, if we think about succession, you know, if we feel that the next generation should also work in other companies before they join the family business, is it very free? Can it be 1 year? Can it be an internship? Or should it be a real job, for example? And those kind of things, discussing that and finally writing that down can also help to clarify. And it helps in the decision making, which is, as we discussed, the essence of governance. Questions from the audience? Who has a question? Yes. Where's the mic? And there's a question. Okay.
It's Carmen Cabra from the magazine Fruit Today. In my country, in Spain, some of the companies have been sold to fund investments. Have you thought about this idea? Any of the members of the board?
Me being from Spain, yeah, every day. I mean, every day we come to the same conclusion. We want to go on.
Very good. Yeah.
I had a question on how does decision making work on the board? Is it democratic, or is it someone has a veto power? When someone, like an executive committee, submits a proposal, how does that take place?
Jacques and Jeanne, in your advisory board?
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't
What's
hear
the decision-making principle? Is it majority? Is it consensus? Is it how does it work?
We are just 4 in the advisory board plus us 2, so at this stage it's more like consensus.
Okay. Any others?
Consensus, unless my father speak up.
Then you have to continue the discussion a little bit, I understand. Yeah, okay.
Consensus.
Yeah. Sorry? Consensus
Consensus.
also. Yeah.
In our case, it's consensus, but
But
if one of us is not more or less, we keep talking and talking and
Yeah.
talking, and finally, it's okay, because for us it's very important to be all of three of us in the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy,
Yeah.
but you have to be very transparent in the information,
Yeah.
very close to
Yeah.
them. In case of our brother, that is the one that is not always at the company. So if we are very clear with him, we tell him everything, because he needs to feel that the transparency is the condition.
Yeah.
But he needs to be sure that he has to be, he has to accept, not to accept, how to say?
He has to be aligned also.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
We need him on board.
Yeah, exactly. And which is very important. Yeah, yeah, very important. An interesting thing, what I learned from one family, because they also had this on the board with outsiders on the board, and there were 3 brothers on the board, and when they did not agree, it was okay to stop the meeting and to plan a new meeting. So in the meantime, the 3 brothers could discuss it among the 3 of them, and then they had the next board meeting with the outsiders, you know, and continue discussion and make the decisions. So, and that was, I found it very interesting. So they were very transparent also to the outside board members and to some of the executive team. You know, sometimes we need more time to build consensus, and that was accepted. There was a question there in the back. Yeah. Maaike is coming. To the left, to the left. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Lilia. I come from Asia. My question is around the unprecedented change that we're seeing and the amount of pressures it's putting on businesses. I'm curious as to how family businesses, you know, cope with these pressures of change, and what are the sacred cows you're willing to give up if you need to for a family business. And that is not just survival, but sustainability, also the obligation that you have to your employees, and not just the family. So to give you an example, experience is no longer a measure of a privilege for the first generation. Almost everything you know or you need to know can be found on YouTube, Wikipedia, the internet, etc., etc. You know, in the old days, the first generation would tell you when to harvest. Nowadays, you just open up YouTube and you probably might find a solution.
So what's your question?
My question is, how do family businesses cope with the amount of unprecedented change that we see today?
Okay. Who wants to answer that? My first question would be, do you experience an unprecedented change?
Yes.
Well, I don't exactly know what you mean with unprecedented change, but I guess it's, I mean, something that you cannot overtake, and then you need to shut down or sell the companies and everything. So in this regard, so I remember having a family meeting, and I raised a question. So what keeps us together here, is it the company? I asked. And the first answer was, yes, we are here because of the company. And then so if we sell the company, the following day, we're not going to meet. And the answer was no. Why? We need to meet if there is no company. And then it was an evolution. And now we are putting the family in the center. And we are no longer a business family, but let me say that. So the business is not in the center, but the family. So ideally, if something unprecedented happens, we might sell or merge or whatever we want to do with the company, but the family remains there, and maybe we can start up a new business or doing things together. And this is, and in my opinion, that's one of my dreams. So to make sure that the family keeps together and do things together. So because the union really makes the force here.
So you not only adapt the business, but you also accept to adapt the family.
Correct.
Yeah. But remain entrepreneurial.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Rashmi, yeah? Oh, sorry. Santosh, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, the uncertainty also is connected with the products. So in our case, what we've been thinking is this passion, we've developed too many products in the company. So one of the things that we are thinking of is what do you drop, what do you keep, so that you have peace of mind and also your expenses are coming under control. Because one of the thing is you keep developing, and when we go back to India, we are going to be, as a family, sitting down and seeing what is really working. And as pointed out by Eduard earlier, we've already separated the field crops, the ornamental division, and the vegetable crops, and we have 3 separate business heads. Now, the learning I got today from here was, okay, now the advisory board and the executive committees need to come in so as to lighten our burden and also keep us from micromanaging, because that tendency is there when you've been there for 3 decades that everything you want to have a say, and then the people who are there to do it, they say, you know what, these guys want to control everything, and this is a fact. So we are thinking of products and what we need to do, and like they say in strategy is what you don't do. So we are looking at the product side also, so that we have more focus. Like even within agronomic crops, we are thinking if there are very strong verticals, is to again make that further differentiation, you know. So that's what we are doing.
Okay, thank you. There's a final question, then we move on to the next topic of succession. Yeah, fully in the back there, close to the window. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ziyu. I come from a family business in contract production for vegetable seeds in China. My parents started the business, and right now I'm kind of contemplating whether I should, also step into the business. So my questions for everyone in the panel is, how did you decide to step into the family business, and also for thinking about the next generation, what are your current thoughts on that?
So, sorry, okay, how do you decide?
So first question is for everyone on the panel, like how did you decide to come into the family business?
To come into the family
And then the
business.
second one is for the next generation, as you're thinking about it, like what are some of the aspects that you're thinking about? How are you setting them up for success?
Okay, good. Yeah. Shall we, this is a nice bridge to the next topic, succession. So I think we'll cover that. Is that okay for you? Yeah, so you'll get the answers. Okay, good. Let's move on. Succession. First key question, how do we involve and prepare the next generation? And then how do we decide on leadership succession? And there's always this difficult balance between letting go by the senior generation and taking charge by the next generation. Let's first move to Jacques and Jeanne, because you have chosen to have a very structured process of involving the next generation, making your choices. Maybe you can elaborate on that a bit. Yeah, I think it should work.
I will start and Jeanne will follow.
Yeah.
Yes, with Veronique, my wife, we have 4 children. We are quite lucky. And more or less 8-10 years ago, I was really alone in the managing of the company. It's not very comfortable. And the children was quite too young. And with my wife, we decided to give, about family rule, was to give the freedom of our children. What they want to do, they can do during their early 20s. But also I try to attract them, to involve them in early in what is the business and about training period, about information on the company. But it was only dinner discussion or lunch discussion, and when the children are one in different part of the France or Europe, it's not very easy to organize. That means our daughter, the oldest daughter, live in Brussels, and she explained that there are family office that they can help us to give interview, to speak as an external advisor. And it was a very good decision to hire a family office to help us in this process of succession process, because in our family, I am the third generation, but we don't have organization for that. It was natural and not always successful about family unity, but it was the case. And now we structure with this family office, and it was very interesting to give the freedom of the children to say what they would like to do in the near future. I'll let Jeanne continue because she's concerned.
I would say that for some generation it seems obvious. I think my father was raised with the idea that he would contribute to the business one day or the other. And I was raised with the idea that I could do whatever I wanted with my life, which is also the case for my brothers and sisters. And also we were raised in balance, I would say, because we were regularly connected to the business. Internship, summer jobs were always there, and also my father was giving us regular updates about the business in a structured way, like we had small family meetings for 1 hour per year, so it was not much, but at least we knew what was happening there. But in fact, when we had our family Sunday lunch discussions, we were a bit in front of a blank page, and that's when we decided all together that we needed to require some help from the external parts. And working with a family office has been a really both challenging and very interesting for us as a family, because we started to learn how to work together. Because you can be a family, you can have holidays and family things and laughing and saying stupid things. But when it comes to start working together, I mean, we were all students or young executives, so we knew what it was to work, but not in a family. So talking to your father or to your mother as a colleague, yeah, it becomes a bit strange. So it's good to have somebody else in the room to just moderate things and yes, tell us how to deal with it.
Yeah. And were there some surprises coming out of this process of being interviewed by an outside consultant? Maybe first to Jacques. You have 4 children, you said they can do what they want. So what surprised you in this process?
The best surprise was when Jeanne say, I am ready to go in the short term. Yeah, because at the end of the story, if there are no children involved, this is a kind of no way. Yeah? This is then, and yes, it was a very good surprise, and we organize also because the succession is what I learned also. It's a responsibility. It's we have to think early. We have to start early because it's a long process. And in my case, I think still today I am very young, but not. And yes, we have to start early, and it's a living cycle. It's a very human approach, and the help of external advisor is good because of this human approach. Is how to say, there is no special engagement. You can be free to speak together.
Yeah. Hey, and you said you have to start early. What does early mean from your perspective?
I start the year of my 60s.
Okay.
I think it's better to start earlier. But also it's, yes, we have to think. I think about before, but I didn't know how to do. This is because some colleagues told me, you have to have a good notary for that. But no, it's only technical point, but not the human approach. You have your bank approach to you to say, we can help you, because the succession, there are 2 important ways. There is the operation, that means how you do the job, and there is also the capital, that means the shareholder. This is two different dimensions and how we can organize this.
Yeah.
Then, yes, start early. I think when you have 50 but one point is also to involve early the next generation. That means it's a permanent process.
Yeah. That's an interesting bridge. Oh, you wanted to add something, John, before?
Yes, just to give you an idea, when we started having this conversation with the family office, it was 8 years ago. So, 8 years ago. So it took us 7 years from the moment I said I'm interested in joining the family business until the day I became managing director for it, because I also needed to go through some steps, etc. So that's also what my father means by you need to allow it some time. Yeah. And also I wanted to say that we were also pushed with the fiscal laws that exist in France, because you get some advantages if you do some things before a certain age. And I think this also helps you to start having conversations, because if you want at some point to save some money, you need to take the right decision before some certain age.
Yeah, and of your siblings, how old was the youngest when you started this process? 21.
21.
Okay. Rashmi and Angela, you are at the beginning of involving the next generation and thinking about succession. Can you explain a little bit what you do at the moment?
So for me, it was very similar. I didn't have any pressure to join the company as such, but I kind of grew up around it. But I did have the freedom to sort of select my own career path. So I did kind of deter away from it for a little bit, but then eventually I found my way back. So to also answer your question that you asked, the advantage that you have in a family business is that it's still your family and you're allowed to try things out. So I think when you have that advantage, definitely use it, because I use that advantage. I thought I wanted to do something else, and now I do both things. So it's also possible to kind of divide your time and work that way. So it really helps, especially when you have a supportive environment where you're not forced into being part of the family business, then you know that you do have the freedom to do some trial and error.
Okay. Ashmi, you want to add something?
Being the second generation, I think we spent a lot of time around the business. And we automatically got into the agriculture and horticulture, spent a lot of time in the business, then moved into it professionally. Of course, from the ground up, we weren't given managerial positions instantly. We worked up through the business. So I think that's important. It was never a given. So we had to find our feet in the regular course of time.
There was one family who said they had a very important saying. They said, succession is the most important investment in the future of your company. How much time did you spend on deciding on the second most important investment in the future of your company? Probably also a lot. At a certain stage, exactly as you illustrate, and as you also encountered, Chuck, it's not only about running the business, it's also about making time to think about, what's next. And I don't know if you felt it in your case, Chuck, being the founder of a company, a question is, do I want to become a family business? Do I want the business to continue when I'm gone? Is that a question that popped in your mind?
In my case, was really natural because it was another period, and I was born at the end of the 50s. That means I was born in the company, inside the company. Okay. The first floor was the shop and the warehouse, and the first level, the ground floor, and the first level was the apartment. That means every day I was with the employee and involved. That means it was not a matter. Yes, we have to give also attraction because to show the positive point of the entrepreneurship, and this is also our responsibility, not to show the negative point. And there are always a balance on. And yes, but It's also a very personal approach because it depends on the personality. We have 4 children, 4 are different, and we are all different. That means we have also to respect this.
Final question to all of you. And you can look at your own succession and the future generation. Do you make a distinction between ownership succession, so who will be the next owners or can become an owner, and who is eligible to take over a leadership role in the company?
That's in our plate at the moment, right now.
Okay.
So it's also a family discussion.
Okay.
I think the most important is to listen to everybody's feeling about this. And you always need to determine whether ownership is an heritage for the generation that were before you, just like houses or whatever, or if it's deserved because you are involved in the business and because you are spending a great part of your life on it. But I think there is no right or wrong. It's just a consensus or a vote. I don't know. But you need to take a decision listening to everybody's feeling about this.
Yeah. And maybe, Lorena, in your case, because it's the 3 of you, you started all 3 both working in a company and being an owner. Was that the...
When we start, sorry.
You started, all 3 of you, your brother and your sister and you, working in a company and being an owner.
Yes.
Yes. But over time that has changed because your brother is now still involved but not in an operational or management role anymore.
No, he's not. Oh, Cecilia, maybe I didn't catch exactly the question. Excuse me.
It's okay, because it's about the difference between leadership succession and ownership succession. So in your case, there was no difference. No. You worked in the company and you became an owner. But over time, it changed.
Could change. I think we are going to change. It's going to change. We are prepared the scenario for that, but not yet.
Yeah.
I think that we have many years ahead.
Yeah.
It's our situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this.
Okay.
Small family.
Yeah.
My father passed away when he was very young, so we are doing a lot of changes in the company for the last 12 years. So the reality today is to prepare the company for the future. It's like this.
Yeah. Okay. And in the case of Attavar, if you look forward, do you make a distinction between who can be the owner in the future and who will work in the company? Or maybe that's something you have not decided yet. That's also fine. You say, then you just say, we need to discuss that.
I think we need to discuss it in terms of, I think we'd leave it fluid and open because whoever merits it best.
Yeah,
I think that's a comfortable way to put it.
Okay.
And I think Santosh and I, we're second generation. So for us, we started off straight into the business. Whereas when you look at our children, they've been in different streams, and they're looking at, they have a very versatile outlook compared to what we had. We had just horticulture and seed and just one way to go, but it's they have very, very versatile outlook.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
And Eduard, in your case?
Well, in our case, I mean, ownership and leadership are 2 different pathways. When it comes to the ownership, unless my father or my uncle, they change their mind, so we will inherit the shares when they pass away. When it comes to the leadership, so we decided that none of the next generation will join the company unless there is a consensus that someone can be eligible. And even if there is a consensus, also there is an outsiders committee that will assess the capacity, the capabilities of this candidate. So we try to be very, very professional in this regard.
Yeah. But still you have this balance of an outside assessment and family consensus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We try to be, not to be biased in the decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Although consensus is already in a statement, but
Yeah.
On top of that, we want also an assessment.
Very good. Yeah, and when the company grows, you can't jeopardize, having good managers on board. So, yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Good. Questions on succession? Who has a question to one of the panelists? Maaike, yeah.
Okay. Related to succession, maybe. I'm curious about, as family businesses, how do you work with family members who want to join the business? Are you encouraging them as many of them to join you as possible, or have you set some rules where you, for example, only want to hire family members with a specific education level, so they are eligible for leadership roles in the company? Curious how you deal with that. Whoever
I can
wants
tell
to
you
take one.
about my experience. And maybe it's the one that is going to happen for the next generation, what they arrive or what happened. In our case, our father was very clear. You have to study business and to learn the business at the company, the seed business. Was very clear. To have a degree, university degree, and a master degree. No chance. That was the idea of him. So we, with my sister, think that have to be something similar. They are very young, but for future is to think is there is a play, a vacancy at the company. Okay, this company could be filled with a family member, but he or she need talent and background, and to share the same value of the company that we have. I think that for me is basic. But still, they are very young. They don't even
realize.
No, read.
Yeah.
Because they are very small.
Exactly.
But I have, we share with my sister this thing. They need to study and they need to be talent for this. Seed business is not for anyone, so it's like it.
Good. Thank you. Let's move to the last topic, how to be the best owner. And given time, we'll do that a bit briefer. Here are again some key questions that everyone should ask, or every family should ask themselves. But the question to you, put your owner's hat on. Or B, if you think about the 4-room model, you now sit in the owner's room. What does success look like? What does success of the family business look like?
I can take this, for example. So from my side, I think that success for a family business is when you have market presence, when you have happy customers. It's quite basic, but when you feel your staff is happy and you keep your investment capacity for the future.
Okay.
These would be my 4 KPIs for success.
For success. Okay, thank you. So,
market presence.
Market presence.
Happy customers.
Happy customers.
Happy staff.
Happy staff.
And money.
And money.
No, I mean money in the sense of investment capacity for the future, because I think it's really key for
reserves to make moves. Yeah, okay, thank you. Lorena.
In our case, it's competitive to keep competitive. Second is financial health. That is very important to do things. And the third is family happy.
Okay. Rashmi.
In my case, it's people that work with us, our employees are happy, customers are happy, and keeping healthy financial business finance is healthy, and the unity of the family.
Sorry?
The unity of the family, and to build trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Eduard, in your case?
Well, in our case, as I said before, so we are not encouraging our sixth generation to join the company, but we really want them to have a very emotional bonds with the company. So owning the company or the shares of Fitó Seeds is not like owning the shares of any other company. So it's their company, and we have to create those emotional bonds, those feelings, and that means that the company has to play a significant role in the society, and they have to feel proud of it, and trying to be a good owner means, in my opinion, to really understand the role of the company in the society. So, and really feel proud that, okay, I have shares of this company, and because this company is good for the society, and that creates this feeling of proudness and you know, this.
And this role in society, is that is it more than the products you sell and develop?
And the products?
Or is it also something else that the role that the company plays in society?
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think so. I think, and again, linking with or connecting with what I have said before. So we no longer want to be a family business, but a family with a business. And then if we need to shift the business to pursue our purpose, we will do that. And that's what encouraged me. So we don't need to be executive if we don't have the skills or we don't have the time, I don't know, but at least if the purpose, the role of the company we want, the role that we want for the company in the society is shared, that this is what matters. And regardless if it's through, let's say, even through Semillas Fitó or through another company. So the idea is that we really want to do well in the society. At least it's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and it just goes beyond just making profit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Thank you. So it's interesting. So you all mentioned something about we need to have the possibilities to invest, to be healthy, to cope with crisis or sudden changes, family unity, and happiness, and relevance. Keep up with the competition. Yeah. Let's move to some concluding remarks. And now I want to move to the sector you're all active in. And the question to the four of you, what do you see as the most important task for family businesses in the seed sector? Being this most common creature, not only in the business world, but also in the seed sector. So what, if you really think as family businesses, what should we do? Where should we stand for if you think about the seed sector in general? Jeanne.
So in our case, we have a different size versus most of our competitors. So I think we should target excellence, because this is where we become distinctive and we can keep existing with a purpose on the market.
Okay.
And when you target excellence, this is also where you can have strong and long-lasting relationship with the people internally, outside the company as well. And that's where you can, I think, keep existing as a family business.
Okay.
This is my view.
That's where you really can stand out, and that's how you can sustain.
Yeah, standing out and relying on other people outside your company with strong relationship.
Yeah, okay. Lorena, Eduard?
Another thing that is in our case is to be very close to the farmers, to very close to the needs of them. And so to be sure that the investment that we are doing is going to be really to solve problems or the problems of the farmers. So that is to be close.
Yeah, so stay very close to the market.
Very, very close. For us, it's fundamental to be open, because we have to listen. I always say to the people that work at the company, don't tell me what the farmer told to you. Tell me what you think that the farmer is thinking about.
Okay, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Ashmi or Santosh, you may want to answer, because you have also this other hat on, being president of ISF.
One of the observations we've made as a family, first in India and in other markets where we are overseas, is that a lot of assumptions were made in the last few years, thinking that farmers have all the knowledge about everything. And a lot of times we realize that the marketing channel is offering several products other than seeds, and that's, what I'm trying to get at is we are getting back into the old extension model, so the agronomy and extension, which is also a bridge to the farmer. And we used to do it in the early days, and then we thought, okay, now farmers know everything about everything. They have all the information available. And the thing is, they are getting too much information, and a lot of times they are not able to pick and choose. For example, it's in India, there's also credit being given to the farmers by the channel partners in some cases. So what we've now started working on is that we are working with more and more on the agronomy and quality inputs for farmers, and we are starting in small clusters, and then we are going to push that out and then bring in communication, which I feel in the end has a cascading effect, and it comes back to the happy customer and happy owners, family sort of thing. Okay. It's a very different way of doing it, but we are getting quick results now.
Okay.
So back to roots kind of thing, for us.
Reshma, what do you want to add? Yeah.
And our tagline is sowing seeds of happiness.
Okay. Good, thank you. Final question. One, from your experience on all the key success factors, what's the one tip that you would like to give to other family businesses?
I like the idea of succession. So
okay.
I think that's important because it's really linked to the duration of the company. So
okay.
You have to invest a lot in the succession, not only for the family members, but also for the whole positions in the company. Yeah. So for me, it's key.
Prioritize succession. Thank you.
I'd agree with Eduardo. Succession is really important, and most important is when you're in a family business to have clarity and sometimes courage, because you don't want to hurt your sibling or a family member, but be very honest and clear for all family businesses. I think that's very important. When there's clarity, it makes things a lot more easier.
Okay, so I pick out 3 words: succession, clarity, and courage. Thank you.
Yes, in our view is to spend time to build a common view about the company, to have a common goals, but be close to the families, close to all members of your family, to be sure that in some way you are giving responses or answers of their needs.
Okay.
My personal tips, three words: faith, responsibility, and passion. I think faith in the future, responsibility in the succession process, because as we discussed, is a very important and human process, and be passionate by the entrepreneurship and by the seed sector.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Again, a question to you. It's on the screens now. If you think about this session, what is one takeaway for your own family business that you got out of this session? Or at least write it down for yourself, if you don't want to put it in the Mentimeter. What's one takeaway from the session for your business? Okay, succession becomes a very important one. And invest in the next generation, also a nice one. Okay. Next question. And what is the one challenge you face as a family, owning a business? What's the one challenge that you face as a family, owning a business? A blank sheet of paper. Oh, doesn't. I don't know what's happening now. Can you see on the screen if there's text? No, on your screen. No. I don't know what's happening. A buck in Mentimeter. Maybe someone wants to shout? There's one challenge? No? Then take it home and face it. I really would like to have a big applause for the 4 families for your willingness to share. Thank you so much. And I hope you got some insights and some good ideas out of this family business luncheon. Enjoy the rest of the Congress. And this is the end. Thank you very much.